This is NBC Nightly News, Wednesday, October 17th. Reported by John Chancellor.
Good evening. The Middle East war produced developments all over the world today. The oil-producing countries of the Arab world decided to use their oil as a political weapon.
There was an announcement in Kuwait that prices for Arab oil were going up. A huge increase voted in an overnight meeting without even consulting Western buyers.
The year is 1973. The members of the Arab petroleum exporting countries, also known as OPEC, gathered in a smoke-filled boardroom in the Sheraton Hotel located in Kuwait City. There, they decided the fate of the Western world's economy by increasing the price of oil by 75% in retaliation for the Western support of Israel during the Yom Kippur War. This price increase eventually turned into a full-scale embargo, as the conflict persisted and the USA provided arms to Israel. The embargo sent the oil market into a shock, increasing gas prices by 400% and seeing Westerners waiting for hours to fill their gas-guzzling cars of the era. Instantly, smaller, affordable, and more fuel-efficient vehicles became wildly successful in the market. Additionally, American President, Democrat Jimmy Carter, imposed fuel efficiency standards that punished Americans who enjoyed standard-size engines. The compact car revolution was now in full swing, and Mercedes, who only had large-format vehicles at the time, was missing out on the action. Mercedes CEO Joachim Zahn, who had previously rejected compact cars for years, now knew if they didn't make a move soon, they would miss out on an opportunity to put drivers in a Mercedes-Benz. But how could the automaker, known for its luxury and dedication to engineering excellence, create a compact car that was still truly a Mercedes and stay true to the heritage of automotive perfection without compromise? This is the true story of one of the most successful and diverse car platforms of all time, with almost 1.9 million being produced between 1982 and 1993. This is the story of the Mercedes 190E, or as collectors call it, the W201. When the oil crisis struck in the early 1970s, Mercedes was best known for its flagship W116, which came in standard or extended wheelbase options. This S-Class would eventually be fitted with a massive 6.9-liter V8 engine. This high-performance vehicle also featured an opulent but functional interior that won over European executives of the time and took market share away from Rolls-Royce. Developing a compact model that met the fuel efficiency demands and felt like a luxurious high-performance Mercedes was going to be a challenge. This heroic effort fell upon the shoulders of Werner Breichfeld, the newly appointed head of Mercedes research in 1977. The order from Werner to the design team was clear. If we build this car, drivers must never realize they are sitting in a small car. The vehicle had to incorporate all the characteristics of a solid build quality, using high-quality materials instead of plastic ones seen in other Japanese and American compact cars of the time. Its comfort and long-distance touring abilities had to be as good as those of a flagship S-Class, with the same durability, longevity, but with the ease of maintenance and repair. To bring the design elements together, Mercedes tapped luminary car designer and head of Mercedes styling, Bruno Sacco, to solve the aesthetic and functional riddle of the baby Benz. Italian by birth, Sacco had been with Mercedes since 1958 and had established himself as a designer second to none. One of Sacco's main beliefs when it came to designing cars was horizontal integration, which meant that all models in a manufacturer's range should have some family resemblance. As we see, the 190E has many similarities with the rest of the Benz family of the time. As the designs were formalized, the W201 was fitted with an M102 four-cylinder engine ranging from 2 to 2.5 liters. Mercedes now finally had a vehicle that would be able to rival other models on the market at the time when it came to economic fuel consumption. Just one thing remained: the name. Traditionally, Mercedes cars were known by a number that indicated their engine size. For example, the 5-liter engine in the 500 SL. But as the product line grew and several engine sizes could no longer work, the marketing team just chose the number 190 because they agreed it sounded good. And so, the W201 190 was born. The carburetor-fed 190 and the fuel-injected 190E came standard with a 4-speed manual gearbox, but a 4-speed automatic was also available at extra cost. The W201 was first introduced at a media event in Andalusia, southern Spain, on the 8th of December 1982, and Mercedes soon found out they had a blockbuster on their hands. Production volumes began in late 1982 at a solid 110 cars a day, but this was quickly ramped up, and by 1984, W201 production was running at a blistering 890 cars a day. Before production began, Mercedes predicted 30% of W201s would go to first-time Mercedes buyers. But early returns from the German market suggested that the proportion was a massive 50%, bringing nearly 1 million new Mercedes customers into the brand.
But the question that's the hardest to ask is often the easiest to answer.
Could I afford it?
Bottom line, new 190 is $29,850.
That's it? This red one?
Yep.
After their experience with the 190, the majority of drivers eventually moved on to mid-size and full-sized offerings from Mercedes. The base price for a W201 2.6 in 1989 was approximately $32,000, compared to the base 420 SEL at the time, with a sticker price north of $60,000. This attainability drove the 190 into pop culture in the 1980s, appearing in music videos and blockbuster movies. It became a luxury status symbol that ordinary people could aspire to and actually attain. However, the 190 was about to go from the entry-level Benz to a contender on the racetrack and achieve iconic status.
Because the products are clearly superior to their competitors, you're going to find that Mercedes-Benz automobiles attract a totally different breed of customer from those you might have seen in the average showroom. These people are professional, affluent, knowledgeable, and they come into the dealership expecting to be impressed with the product.
Despite Mercedes' rich history of motorsports excellence in the 1950s, 60s, and early 70s, the brand hit a rut in the late 1970s, and the wins were few and far between. By 1980, the company was looking for a new opportunity, and the W201 was the answer they were seeking. Mercedes started focusing on developing the W201 as a rally car to challenge the Ford Escorts and Talbot Lotus Sunbeams of the time. In September 1980, work began on a sport version of the W201. The plan? To develop a 4-valve version of the production engines by collaborating with UK-based Cosworth Engineering, the world leader in 4-valve engineering. However, Audi announced a new model at the 1980 Geneva Motor Show. With 4-wheel drive and a turbocharged engine delivering 200 horsepower, the new Audi Quattro flipped the world of rally racing upside down. The Audi had just made every other rally car obsolete, so Mercedes abandoned rally racing for the 190e and shifted the project to focus on a new branch of motorsport, German DTM racing. Mercedes wasted no time in preparing the new high-performance W201 for production for the 1984 DTM German Touring Car Championship. Production models were sent promptly to participate in speed and endurance testing at the infamous Nardo Ring in Italy. These Nardo runs are grueling, high-mileage tests conducted by Mercedes and are often open to international media. To emphasize the new model's performance and durability, Mercedes decided to run the 190e in a 50,000-kilometer non-stop test run. In the early morning of August 13, 1983, under strict supervision of more than 100 FIA sport commissioners, 3 Mercedes sedans, 190es with 2.3-liter 16-valve engines, began circling the 12-kilometer track. The 3 vehicles completed the torture test and also did it in a blistering record time. Just how fast was a Cosworth 2.3? It broke records in the 25,000-kilometer, 25,000-mile, and 50,000 kilometers, finishing the 50,000 in 201 hours of continuous driving, with an average speed of more than 248 kilometers per hour, or 155 miles per hour. The record sent shockwaves across the automotive world. It also created serious concerns for their competition. For example, when the 190e 16-valve started to enter touring car racing in Europe, BMW hit back with their iconic M3. That's right, without the Mercedes 190e, there would be no M3. While the 190e Cosworth was a great start, the Mercedes DTM racing team still wanted to push development even further. DTM regulations permitted the use of an Evolution variant of a car, on a condition that at least 500 were built and sold to everyday customers through dealerships. Mercedes took full advantage of this rule and began development of their 190e Evolution with a 2.5-liter 16-valve engine. Announced at the Geneva Auto Show in March 1989, there would be 502 Evolutions produced and offered to the public, all of them in 199 color code blue-black, Blau-Schwarz. Exactly 1 year later, the 190e Evolution 2 debuted at the Geneva Auto Show to an audience that was shocked by its radical designs. More than 500 were produced for Mercedes customers across the world. The Evo 2's design was an extreme departure from luxurious yet sporty Mercedes silhouettes, but these extreme aerodynamic enhancements were functional and proven in both a wind tunnel and on the racetrack. Upon seeing the radical Evo 2 wing, BMW Research and Development Chief Wolfgang Ritzel said, "The laws of aerodynamics must be different between Munich and Stuttgart, and if that rear wing actually works, we're going to have to rebuild the BMW tunnel." That same year, the Mercedes Evo 2 racing team finished the season both in first and third place. And BMW did indeed rebuild their aerodynamic tunnel. In addition to its success on the track, the 190e was modified by countless other tuners and coach builders to appeal to wealthy global clientele. Conversions such as this example seen in the Patina Collective Museum were coach built by Schultz of Westphalia with an open checkbook for their customers. This creation would not only turn the four-door sedan into a coupe, but also into a cabriolet, all while meeting German TÜV highway safety inspection standards, just like a factory Mercedes-Benz. A true engineering masterpiece indeed. The 1980s was the peak era of tuning, and every German tuner at the time produced their own version of the W201. AMG, Brabus, Lorenzer, Koenig Specials, Carato Châtelet, and many more. None of these had Mercedes factory approval, but were built to the highest quality German engineering of the 1980s, with many being sold overseas, especially in the Middle East, where customers had limitless funds as a result of high oil prices, which ironically caused the birth of the 190e. The 190 was no doubt an epic commercial success, with nearly 2 million cars being sold over a 10-year period. It was a small car, but it was still everything a Benz should be and has stood the test of time, with some examples accumulating more than 1 million miles. Even today, racing enthusiasts can hunt down a Cosworth, or a more casual driver can find an automatic version for daily use. 40 years later, it still feels like a relatively modern car and keeps up on the highway with ease. But perhaps the real beauty of the 190 is that it made the lifelong and once seemingly impossible goal of owning a Mercedes-Benz a reality for the average hard-working family who can now achieve their dream of owning a real Mercedes. If you want to experience the golden era of Mercedes and see many of these rare 190Es in person, please visit the Patina Collective Museum in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like so we can share this with the world. Thank you so much and have a great day.